So, hello, secret code name Brown Bear, and welcome to the full moon in Gemini mirror analysis readings. This reading is to help you see more clearly where your perspective may be short-sighted, or a better way of putting it would be low-sighted, right? That the vibrational alignment of your perspective is lower than the elevated reality in which you wish to receive, okay? Where your perspective may be keeping you stuck from making progress or moving forward. So, for this reading, you yourself have presented as the Ten of Swords, with the Temperance card below you and the 10 of coins above you. The Queen of Swords is the past in which is keeping you stuck. And the Knight of Pentacles is the step that Spirit is giving you in order to start moving forward, with the guidance card of Solve Polluti 741 Hertz, card number 19 from my White Light Oracle deck. Okay, what does this mean? You presenting as the Ten of Swords, okay? You presenting as the Ten of Swords means a couple things. One, you're looking at someone else as if they are out to make your life harder. That everything they do and everything they say makes your life more difficult. In the reality, you are the one betraying yourself or making your own life hard, right? Swords revolve around communication and thoughts. This is looking as if, because the Ten of Swords is a card of ruin and betrayal. So where you feel someone else is ruining it and betraying the vision that you have and what you hope to see, in the reality, it's you doing that, which is why they are a reflection for you in your outer experience, because it's coming from the inner. It's reflecting in the outer because of the inner state. What you're holding on to with the Queen of Swords, right, another communication card, is you have a habit of expressing your pain, the self-betrayal that you feel, that you're projecting at someone else. You have a habit of communicating that pain in a way that is demasculinating. It's demasculinating. It's literally cutting the head off of someone. And taking away their masculinity. That you would express that their choices and their decisions and the way they talk and the way they do things or the way they see things is terrible. It is nothing but a problem. You're taking their masculine aspect of self, their shot caller, their decision maker, their logic, and their reasoning, and telling it is incorrect. You're devaluing, right? There's a habit of devaluing someone's logic and reason, someone's ability to choose and make decisions. What's going on underneath is that you're attempting to play the temperance role. Okay, you're attempting to alchemize and make them into something better. But you have to be careful in which way you use these ingredients, because the ingredients on this Temperance card are Capricorn and Scorpio. Capricorn and Scorpio can work exceptionally well together, and they can create a fucking nightmare too, depending on how you mix them. In the light Capricorn and Scorpio, you can take charge in the transformation from a place of self. Or you can dictate what needs to transform in someone else, and that is the shadow. You can take control of the self and the transformation within the self, or you can try and dictate what someone else needs to change. One way is evolution and growth, and the other is self-sabotaging and detrimental. Alchemy is an art form. It requires precision and accuracy. What you're trying to achieve is a 10 of Pentacles dream, which means you must be meticulous in the way you communicate. That you wouldn't demasculinate someone. Instead of saying they were wrong, ask them to help you understand why that decision was important, that they did it the way that they did. See if you can understand the perspective or the logic and reasoning they went through. And instead of correcting them and telling them they were wrong and essentially cutting their balls off or taking their head off, see if you can actually explain to them what was missed or unaccounted for, that you can see their reasoning, and that according to their reasoning, their action is justified or correct. However, it's missing an ingredient. It was missing consideration of this, or it was missing the acknowledgement of that, in which case they may have chosen different. They may not have chosen different. It may have still been the best possible choice at the time, in which case it is not their fault and they shouldn't be punished or vilified for it or cut down to size for it, right? If you want to achieve the dream, the ultimate 3D reality where you don't feel like people are working against you, then you have to stop working against yourself in regards to how you communicate. You have to be able to look at the self and choose to control the self and transform the self, as opposed to dictating the transformation of other people. Because if you're cutting their head off, or talking down to them, or you're condescending to them, or making them feel or perceive that you're speaking to them in a way that is demasculizing. If they're perceiving that way, you're not going to make a lot of progress with them. And matter of fact, you're going to keep hitting a brick wall, right? The Knight of Pentacles that Spirit is giving you as a step towards something better is about being cautious and full-hearted, that you would create a fertile instead of a desolate landscape to grow from. They're asking you to create a fertile landscape to grow from instead of a desolate landscape to grow from. In order for things to grow, the landscape needs to be rich with nourishment. It can't be denied or deprived of its value. Be very aware of how you communicate with people, especially when you feel the need to correct someone. Because if you need to correct someone, the chances are you yourself need correcting in that moment. So instead of forcing them to understand your perspective and how wrong they were because they don't or didn't, do your best to understand why or how they came to the conclusion that they did, and instead give it nutritional value, energetic nutritional value, so that it can be made better next time around. They weren't wrong, but they were missing information and or perspective and or time, opportunity, a release of pressure, whatever it is. Be more able to roll with it and improve it, as opposed to correcting it and dismantling it or cutting it down. Chances are you learned this from someone in your past. Someone in your past, most likely a parent, was probably the same way with you. Extremely corrective, telling you you're wrong, making you feel like all the choices that you're making or all the decisions and conclusions you came to are wrong, that you didn't realize this, didn't realize that, didn't take this into consideration or that into consideration, and you fucked it all up. Constantly making mistakes, constantly making their life harder, constantly embarrassing them or whatever. And this is what's repeating. You've got to cut the head off your own ego, your own wounds that think they know the right way to correct people and the right way to correct behavior. The right way to improve someone is to correct them and make them feel like they're stupid. Because that's not correct. Whoever taught you that was mistaken. Whoever gave you that example gave you a poor example of how to get results. It's going to take time and patience for you to adjust the way you communicate. Because there is not a single card on this board that doesn't deal with communication. You've got 2 Virgo cards ruled by Mercury. You've got a Gemini card ruled by Mercury. You've got a Queen of Swords ruled by communication. Dealing with Mercury. Virgo's on the card with Libra. And you've got Temperance, which is a Sagittarian card and deals with communication and being able to see the long term. You've literally got all communication cards, all 5. Okay? This is where your perspective is holding you back from making progress. So let me read to you the guidance card. Salve Polluti, 741 Hertz. Card number 19, it says, tune into your heart and you will be able to find your way through any negative or toxic situation. Engage in self-healing and space clearing within the self. Commit to regular practices that help you connect to your inner light. Your light shall not be overcome by any darkness or negativity. Take time to clean your heart and mind of negativity by focusing on the divine beings that bring joy to your heart. It is appropriate for you to desire your own personal and sacred space and access it daily within yourself. We live in an age of heightened environmental, emotional, and spiritual pollution. During such a world age, it takes more work to experience clarity, purity, and originality. Often the bulk of our challenge is simply warding off further negative influences and attempting to dislodge the toxins permeating our energy field psychologically, physically, and emotionally. The onslaught continues with chemical toxins in foods, polluted oceans which contaminate life, and the bombardment of electromagnetic radiation. When technological development lacks commensurate wisdom, such is the current case, progress contains a shadow side of harm to our planet and its creatures, including us humans. Higher beings are lovingly and faithfully working to assist souls in their transition from fear to a love-based inner orientation, and to become strong enough to ward off further negative influences and reverse the toxic culture within themselves, which reflects into our world. A shift is available for hearts willing to exchange the constant battle with relentless negativity for being a source of light, love, and peaceful abiding on this planet instead. When these hearts reside in an inner place of purity, they are able to bring unconditional love and spacious primordial wisdom into our world for the spiritual benefit of all beings. With positive enthusiasm for the healing for all beings, they can do much good in the world. To be around such hearts instills peace and relaxation, hopefulness and vitality within the soul. The frequency of 741 hertz, which you can look up on YouTube, cleans things up. Salve polluti is a Latin expression which means to clear pollutants and toxins. This frequency focuses on clearing, freeing the hold of negativity, and allowing the natural way of bright, beautiful manifestation to unfold. This frequency works to clear infections and electromagnetic radiation from the body. It also attunes one of the harmonics of the quantum field, the reorganizing principle of the higher self, which knows what you are and how to dislodge and disengage from that which is inauthentic and obstructive to your radiant being. When this oracle appears in a reading, it is a call to clear yourself and your space in ways that feel affirming, inspiring, and beautiful for you. Trust that no matter how much gunk the ego-driven actions of humans might generate, it is no match for the power of spirit at play in willing human hearts. May all such hearts join with spirit and with each other to clear and bless all creatures for the greatest good. This is about you getting clear in your energy first, so that your clarity can shine through the shadows of others and start breaking those shadows down so that they too can find their light and continue to shine forth. It's got to start with you. Truly focus on adjusting the way you communicate. Allow the toxicity that you've taken in from life and experience go. Listen to 741 hertz on YouTube as often as you can, regardless of who's around. If you're feeling in a moment some kind of toxic negativity stir up within your thoughts or stir up within your feelings, pop it on. Ask them what you're listening to. Let them ask you what you're listening to. I'm listening to something that helps me calm down. It helps me think clearly. Put it on before bed. Let it play out loud so that you and anybody else can hear it. So that you can heal this vibration even while you sleep. Let it help you. Use it as a tool. because you can dig a hole with your hands or you could dig a hole with your shovel, but one way is more painful and takes a lot longer, and the other one is much more effective and efficient and a whole lot less painful. I do hope this helps you. Okay, this is the last moon event for 2021, and I look forward very much so to reading for you next year. My love and support is with you always. Take care.